then promises your teen the same grade. None of them let you know who they let in. We've seen the same promise everywhere, right? You've seen the ads on your social media feed. It's always the group tutoring programs that offer the A or the A star in A level biology or A level chemistry or A level maths. Some of them even have a grade guarantee. If your teen doesn't achieve an A or an A star, for example, in A level maths, well, then you can have your money back. But the problem is this: when everybody promises the same outcome, the promise stops carrying information, doesn't it? It just becomes noise. Now, this is the question that nobody answers. Who do you accept into your group tutoring programs? Because when you think about parents, if you only accept A track students and a lot of them get an A star, that's to be expected. But you haven't changed one thing about them, have you? Because if a student comes in and they have a B and they move up to an A, but based on prior academic performance, it's expected that they'll get an A. It isn't an achievement on the part of the group tutor, is it? It's just arithmetic. It makes me think of this Crash Diet advert that I saw years ago. And I mentioned this on a previous live stream. It was the before and after shot. And the before shot was a couple and they were overweight, kind of depressed looking. And they wanted to go on holiday somewhere warm. And the next photograph was them on some beach somewhere in some tropical island. And they're walking down the beach hand in hand. And the man had lost all the excess body fat. He'd actually got a haircut and a shave. And the woman, oh, her hair was long and luxurious, and she was wearing a bikini and a sarong. And they're walking down the beach hand in hand, and the sun was setting. And just by looking at the photograph, you could feel the warmth of the sand between your toes, and you could see the crystal blue waters. And underneath it, there was a caption that said, "Get the beach body that you deserve in 6 weeks or less. Use this diet." I won't name the diet. It's a pretty famous diet. But the question is this, parents. Were the advertisers, were the marketers being disingenuous by printing this ad? No, they weren't lying to anybody. They just didn't show the people who didn't make it. Because the advert isn't lying to you, it's showing the survivors. Now, the public data that I'm going to talk about now, it's on the internet. It comes from the government, the Department for Education. And what the Department for Education does is it actually publishes the GCSE prior attainment grade for all the students last year and the grade that they got. Now, we're not saying that it's a predicted grade, it's not a guaranteed grade, it's not an aspirational grade. It's just this is the grade that the students with this GCSE prior attainment grade got. So you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take anybody's word for it. In fact, I put the link in the description below this video. But the numbers are what you need to look at, because parents, I know you like to be informed. If you look at the numbers, and I got them here, for GCSE, if you had a prior attainment grade of an 8, you're in the band of an 8. 73% of students last year got an A or better. If you had a GCSE prior attainment grade of a 7, it dropped down. Only 33% of the students last year got an A or better. So let me say that again so it lands. If your teen had a GCSE prior attainment grade of an 8, 73% of those teens got an A or better in A-level chemistry. If they had a 7, it dropped down to 33%. One letter grade of difference in the GCSE attainment, and the outcome of getting an A or an A star dropped by about half. Now, talking about the A star, is it possible to get an A star in A-level chemistry if you had a GCSE prior attainment grade of a 7? The answer is yes. It was fewer than 1 in 20. Now, what this means then, parents, is this, is that statistically, this means that about 30,000 students a year have a GCSE prior attainment grade of a 6 or a 7. So that's most of the teens. And that's probably your teen as well. So what does this number actually tell you? Well, this is the part that nobody tells you. Every student in that 33% who got the A or the A star in A-level chemistry, every student in that 33% was taught in the ordinary way. This is a connection that I want you to make. Same school, same teaching method, same learning method, same GCSE habits. So as I look at it, it's not what the students were capable of. It's a measure of what the ordinary teaching method produces. So if you look at the statistics a slightly different way, it's a forecast of a trajectory. It's not a verdict on a ceiling. Now, what do I mean by that? That means that your teen can go higher than what is being forecast by the government. Now, let me give you an example. A long time ago, in my 40s, a long time ago, I had a personal trainer. And at the very first day, he said, Graham, right, what's your goals for bodybuilding? What do you want to achieve? And I said to him, well, I want to be able to bench press double my body weight. I mean, what guy doesn't? And he looked at me and he said, no, you can't do it. Not, oh, absolutely. We'll get you the ability to be able to bench press double your body weight in 6 weeks. Absolutely. No, he didn't say that. What he said was, no, it's not happening. Why not? Well, Graham, we have really long arms. And so mechanically, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to bench press double your body weight because you have to move the weight twice as far as anybody else based on your arm length. So he and I talked and we came up with a more realistic target for me to achieve. And I stayed with him for 2 years. And I learned everything about bodybuilding and cardiovascular training and dieting and everything else. Now, the reason that I stayed with him for 2 years is this, is not because he sold me the dream that I wanted to hear, that I wanted to have. It's because he told me the truth. And he gave me something real to aim for. Now, this is exactly what we do at Empowered STEM. We build students who earn the top grades, one student at a time. This is our entire business model. This is what we do. We work on the improbable, not the impossible. Because if your teen is in the band where the average grade is a C on A-level chemistry, for example, 1 in 10 is still going to finish at an A or better. And we've taught some of those students. The student I mentioned on Tuesday on the live stream, Amira, as I said, she had a D in year 13 chemistry. She had been predicted an A by her tutor at college, by her teacher at college. And at the beginning of year 13, she had a D. Now, she was working hard. She was putting in the time, effort, and attention. No issues with that. The issue was the method that she was using in order to get the grades. And I think I talked about this one previously. You can run to the east as fast as you want, but you'll never see a sunset. And so what we did is that we came in and we helped her with the method. We moved away from the GCSE study habit, installed the A-level system, and she walked out of A-level chemistry with an A star. And as I said previously, she's at a top 5 dental school in the UK studying dentistry. Now, the reason why we were successful parents is because we know what separates the one student from the other 9 students in the 10 students that will get the A star. But I'm not going to promise to you that I can do this for your teen before I know where your teen is starting from. Because the honest answer depends entirely on that. So, parents, if you're watching these ads on your social media feed and you see them and they promise you an A star for your teen in A-level biology or A-level chemistry or A-level maths, there's a couple of questions you need to ask yourself. Ask them, who do you let in? Because if you're only letting in students who are in the band of an 8, according to the government statistics from last year, the vast majority of them will get an A or an A star. And ask them a follow-up question. Compared to what? So you're going to get them an A or an A star compared to what? What grade did they begin with before they enrolled in your group tuition program? But the data tells you where the ordinary method lands. The government data tells you where your teen is going to achieve, most likely, if they carry on using the ordinary method used by the school system. The same GCSE study habits, the same teaching method, the same outcome. But it's never once told you what your teen is capable of. And this is what I want you to have to think of, parents. What is your teen capable of achieving in A-level biology, chemistry, or maths? Because if you change the learner, you change the grade. Now, if you want to know more about this national data that I was using, what you need to do is, and what it says about your teen's ability to achieve top grades in A-level biology, chemistry, maths. You need to understand this data. And you need to understand that it is not a prediction. It's not a school transcript. It's not an aspirational grade. It's a real number. And it's a very important number that you need to know. And so in order to calculate this number, what you'll need is your GCSE result slip. Right. So you need the results that your teen got at GCSE. It's the average across all the subjects. So, issue with nobody really remembers accurately what the teens at GCSE prior attainment grade is. But as I said, I left a link in the description to the government website so you can look at it yourself. You can look at the data. But there's also a link there for you to contact us. There's a link in the description. And you can book a call with us and we'll work out your teen's GCSE prior attainment grade. So you will know which band that they're in. So you can make a well-informed decision on how you want to help your teen achieve the top grades in A-level biology, chemistry, or maths.